The rain had been falling over the small town of Ashbrook since late afternoon. Not the loud kind of rain that demanded attention, but the gentle sort, the kind that whispered against old windows, and turned every streetlight into a soft golden glow. Emily Carter had always loved evenings like this. After 35 years as a librarian, retirement had finally given her quiet days. And even quieter nights. Her tiny cottage sat at the end of Willow Street, where maple trees leaned over the road as if they were sharing old secrets. Every evening at exactly 8 o'clock, Emily brewed chamomile tea, lit a single candle, opened her favorite mystery novel, and listened to the rain. Life had become wonderfully predictable. Until the plant appeared. It was waiting on her front porch one rainy Tuesday evening. A simple ceramic pot. No note. No ribbon. No delivery tag. Just a beautiful green plant with thick glossy leaves. Emily looked carefully up and down the empty street. Nobody. Only rain. Only silence. She smiled. Perhaps someone left it at the wrong house. She carried it inside anyway. The leaves shimmered in the candlelight. There was something comforting about it. Not unusual. Just peaceful. She placed it beside the living room window. Then she noticed something odd. The soil was already damp. Someone had watered it only hours before. Well, she whispered, I suppose you won't need more tonight. She laughed softly at herself. Talking to a plant. Retirement certainly had strange effects. The next morning, Emily walked through the neighborhood asking if anyone had lost a houseplant. Mrs. Harper from across the street shook her head. No dear. Mr. Lewis at the bakery smiled. Wish someone would leave me free flowers. Nobody knew where it had come from. Days passed. The plant remained. Every evening, Emily found the soil perfectly moist. Almost as if someone had watered it before she could. She finally decided to test her imagination. One evening, she didn't water it. The following morning, the soil was still damp. She frowned. Impossible. No leaks. No automatic watering system. Nothing. Yet the plant looked healthier every single day. Its leaves became brighter. Its stems stronger. Tiny white flowers slowly appeared. Emily couldn't remember ever seeing flowers like those before. They had no scent. But whenever she looked at them, she felt calm. As though the room itself had become quieter. A week later, another strange thing happened. She woke before sunrise. The rain had finally stopped. Soft fog drifted across her garden. She looked toward the living room window and froze. For just a moment, she thought she saw someone standing beside the plant. A woman, wearing a long gray coat. Looking out into the garden, Emily blinked. The room was empty. Only the plant remained. She smiled nervously. Too many mystery books. She poured herself coffee. Still, The image stayed with her all day. That evening, Emily visited the local antique shop. Its owner, old Mr. Bennett, had lived in Ashbrook longer than anyone else. She casually mentioned the mysterious plant. His smile slowly disappeared. What kind of flowers? Emily described them. Tiny white blossoms. 5 delicate petals. Perfect circles. Mr. Bennett became very quiet. Finally, he asked, "Did someone leave it on your porch during the rain?" Emily nodded. Yes. The old man looked toward the shop window. "I haven't heard about one of those in almost 20 years. Emily laughed politely. "You make it sound haunted." He chuckled. "No. Not haunted. Remembered." Emily tilted her head. "What do you mean?" Mr. Bennett hesitated. Then simply replied, "Take good care of it. And, if it ever blooms completely, don't leave it alone after midnight." Emily waited for him to explain. He never did. Instead, he changed the subject entirely. Walking home beneath glowing streetlights, Emily couldn't stop thinking about his words. Don't leave it alone after midnight. What an oddly specific thing to say. Surely he was teasing her. Old shopkeepers often enjoyed mysterious stories. Still, that night, she found herself checking on the plant before bed. The tiny flowers seemed brighter than usual, almost silver beneath the moonlight. She smiled. "Good night." Then laughed again. "I'm definitely talking to plants now." She switched off the lamp. The house became silent. Outside, rain began falling once more. Soft, gentle, comforting rain. Around midnight, Emily woke unexpectedly. Not because of a sound, but because the bedroom suddenly felt warmer. She walked quietly toward the hallway. The candle in the living room, which she clearly remembered blowing out, was burning again. Its flame never moved. Not even slightly. The plant stood beside it, perfectly still. Yet, one flower had opened. Completely. Emily stepped closer. And that's when she noticed. Fresh drops of water were falling onto the soil. One drop. Every few seconds. From nowhere. No ceiling leak. No window. Just water appearing above the plant. As if invisible hands were carefully watering it. Emily held her breath. The room remained completely silent. Then, very gently, someone whispered, "Thank you." Emily turned around instantly. No one was there. Only the rain outside, the candle, and the mysterious plant. Waiting quietly by the window, End of part 1. The evening rain returned to Cedar Creek just before sunset. Soft drops tapped against windows. Street lights slowly flickered to life. And Ethan sat alone in his bedroom, staring at the mysterious suitcase. The letter about Mrs. Peterson's cat had come true. Exactly. No mistake. No coincidence. For the first time, Ethan wondered if every letter inside the suitcase might be real. Slowly, he opened another envelope. Inside was a short message. At 8:12 p.m. tonight, visit the old bridge near Pine Creek. Come alone. Bring this letter. Ethan checked the clock. 7:45 p.m. The old bridge was only a 15-minute walk away. His heart beat faster. Every sensible part of him wanted to ignore the message. Yet curiosity was stronger. So he put on his rain jacket and left home. The rain fell steadily as Ethan followed the quiet road toward Pine Creek. Water rushed beneath the old wooden bridge. Mist drifted above the river. When Ethan arrived, nobody was there. Only darkness. Only rain. Only the sound of water flowing below. He looked around. Nothing. Then a voice spoke behind him. "You're right on time." Ethan spun around. An old man stood beneath an umbrella. His gray coat looked decades old. His face seemed familiar somehow. The stranger smiled gently. "You received the suitcase." Ethan stepped back. "Who are you?" The old man looked toward the river. "Someone who once stood exactly where you're standing now." The answer made little sense. Yet something about the man's voice felt comforting. Almost familiar. The stranger pointed toward the letter. "Read the final sentence." Ethan unfolded the paper. At the bottom, words he hadn't noticed before appeared. "The man on the bridge knows the truth." A chill moved through Ethan. The stranger nodded. "Yes. I know the truth." "Then tell me." The old man smiled sadly. "The letters were written by you." Ethan laughed nervously. "That's impossible." "Not impossible." The man looked directly into his eyes. "Just not yet." For several moments neither spoke. Rain tapped softly against the umbrella. The creek flowed beneath them. Finally the old man continued. "Many years from now, you will write every letter in that suitcase." Ethan's mind raced. "No. You will." The stranger's eyes reflected the bridge lights. "You'll grow older. You'll leave Cedar Creek. You'll travel. You'll build a life. Then why send letters back?" The old man looked toward the distant train station. "Because one day you'll discover something extraordinary." "What?" "The train." The words hung in the rainy air. "The Cedar Creek Night Express isn't an ordinary train." Ethan listened carefully. "It appears only during certain storms. It travels between moments rather than places." The explanation sounded impossible. Yet after everything that had happened, Ethan wasn't sure what was impossible anymore. The old man continued. Years from now you'll board it. And then, you'll realize every passenger is carrying something unfinished. Lost memories. Missed opportunities. Unanswered questions. The train gives them one chance to send a message back. Ethan looked down at the letter. So the suitcase was your message. The rain softened. The clouds began breaking apart. Moonlight appeared through small openings in the sky. For the first time all day, the storm seemed to be ending. Ethan looked at the stranger. If you're telling the truth. He hesitated. Then who are you? The old man smiled warmly. A smile Ethan had seen countless times before. In mirrors. The answer suddenly became obvious. His breath caught. No way. The stranger nodded. Yes. The old man standing before him was Ethan. Older. Decades older. The same eyes. The same smile. The same voice. Only weathered by time. Neither spoke for several seconds. The rain whispered around them. Finally older Ethan broke the silence. I didn't send the letters to change the future. Then why? The answer came quietly. To remind you of something important. They walked slowly across the bridge together. The storm continued fading. Stars began appearing overhead. Older Ethan looked toward the town. When I was your age, I spent years worrying. Worrying about the future. Worrying about mistakes. Worrying about where life would take me. He smiled. But eventually I learned something. What? The future arrives one day at a time. The creek reflected moonlight below. You don't need every answer tonight. You don't need to know exactly what happens next. You only need to keep moving forward. Ethan listened carefully. The words felt simple, yet somehow powerful. Older Ethan stopped walking. This was the most important message. Not predictions. Not mysteries. Not time travel. But this. He pointed toward the peaceful town lights glowing in the distance. Life moves faster than you think. So notice the rain. Notice the quiet evenings. Notice the people you care about. Because one day those ordinary moments become your favorite memories. A train whistle echoed through the night. Both Ethans turned toward the station. Far away, through drifting mist, a familiar light appeared. The Cedar Creek Night Express. It had returned. Older Ethan smiled. My train. The whistle echoed again. Rain had completely stopped now. The sky above Cedar Creek was clear. Stars sparkled across the darkness. Older Ethan stepped backward. It's time. Ethan felt a surprising sadness. Will I see you again? The older man smiled. You already have. Then he walked away. Toward the distant station. Toward the impossible train. Toward whatever waited beyond time. Ethan watched until both the train and the stranger disappeared into the night. Then he stood alone beneath the stars. The suitcase remained beside him. But somehow it felt lighter now. Not because its weight had changed, because its mystery had changed. The letters had never been about predicting the future. They were reminders. Small messages from a future self who understood what truly mattered. The rain. The quiet moments. The people. The journey. Years later, Ethan would remember that rainy night. The bridge. The suitcase. The train. And whenever life became difficult, he would remember the lesson hidden inside the letters. The future does not need to be feared. It arrives one peaceful day at a time. And somewhere beyond the rain and the stars, the Cedar Creek Night Express continued its endless journey through the night. Carrying stories, carrying memories, and carrying letters meant for exactly the right moment. Cloud with rain, locomotive sparkles. The end.